How's it going, Phonlab? It's Root Junkie here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about this device right here. This is the S7. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how to deal with fingerprints and passwords, how to get past pin locks, how to remove them for customers. This should be a cool video. So basically, you can see that this device actually is password locked. It's also fingerprint locked to my thumb, so I can get it with my fingerprint right there. So it has technically two forms of lock on it. Besides that, there's a third form of lock. It is FRP locked, and I'm just going to show you guys that as well by going in here, powering down. Look, you can't even power down without putting in your password. How crazy is that? Isn't that nuts? That's new security. So if you can't power this thing down currently, that's going to be a little tricky. But I think I'm going to show you something that should be able to do what we need. It's going to be kind of cool. I think you're going to like this. This is kind of a neat little trick I'm going to show you. And show you what you can do to deal with the fact you can't power this thing down because you're FRP tripped. Just show you kind of neat things. So let's go to my computer. I'm going to show you it's also FRP locked. And I'm going to show you how to deal with this and get this off this device. It's going to be kind of an advanced class, probably a little long, but I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Let's go do this. Alright guys, so how are we going to deal with this password locked device over here, right? We've got a password lock on it, we cannot get in. So let me just show you how this is going to work. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and you're going to need all these files. Basically what you're going to need is you're going to need the root file for your specific device. Now I can show you an root file for here. So this is our mega file repository. And if you come in here, you can see I have a bunch of Samsung nroot files. So if you have any of these devices, basically you should be able to do the same process and do the same thing that I'm doing here in this video. So come check these out if you need them. Okay, so what I've got here is this is a T-Mobile. It's a G930, which is this file right here. So basically the first thing we've got to do is we got to go ahead and flash the proper file here with Odin. So unfortunately this device cannot power off because it needs a password to power off, which is really baloney. It's kind of hilarious this is even a thing, but basically what you do is you hold volume down, power, and the home button just like you'd normally boot into Odin, and just keep holding them until the device just goes ahead and boots into download mode. So as soon as it does, then we can finish the next step and flash this file we need to do this password removal. Okay, there you go. You can see we're back at download. If you can't get it to reboot, it sometimes does take a long time. Let go of the home button until it does like a disconnecting sound, and then hold it again while you keep holding the other two buttons, and it'll boot into this mode. Then you can go volume up to continue. And we're in download mode. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it is FRP lock, okay? So we have FRP lock, passwords, everything. This thing's locked down. Okay, so we're going to come into Odin. So let's open up Odin. And you need to use modded Odin. So just make sure you're using that as well, which they call the Prince Cosby Odin. We have one at Phonlab too. It's just make sure it's the modded Odin. Alright, so we've got Odin opened up. We're just going to go back in here to, where's my files here? Right there, 930T and password removal. Okay. And we got to load up the file we need. So this is pretty standard Odin stuff, right? Nothing too exciting. So I'm going to go desktop, phone repair, Samsung 930T, password removal, and then here's my nroot file for the device I have. This is also on 7.0, just so you're aware. So we're going to load that up. We're going to go ahead and start. And this should go ahead and flash this file over, and it should finish and complete. And then once it does, the device is going to reboot. Okay, so at this point we have escalated privileges with our device, which is the beauty. So we're just going to wait for it to boot up. This shouldn't take too long, and then we're going to go ahead and minimize this for right now. And once the device boots up, we're going to open up an ADB window, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this. It's a pretty cool trick. And the other thing you're going to have, which is kind of good, I'm going to give you guys this. It'll be below the video here. These different text and commands. so you'll have these as well. They might be helpful for you to understand what we're doing, but you can kind of follow along. So I think the device is rebooted. You can see that it is still password locked. See it? Password locked. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to do an ADB, I don't want cap locks on, ADB devices. This is just going to make sure that the device is communicating over ADB, and it should be, there you go, and then ADB shell. Now here's the beauty part. So when you use an engroot file on Samsung, you get an ADB shell with root privileges, okay? So from here, we're going to show you how to get rid of and how to maneuver there through here and get rid of the lock screen security without wiping data on the phone. So we're going to do an LS just so we can see all the files. LS is super common, great to use. And then we're going to CD to data. You can LS that if you want. And then we're going to actually CD in here to system. So CD to system. Okay, and then LS that. And then in here, sometimes it's even good to do an LS minus AL. That gives you like a better list of things. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually look for keys, anything with the extension of key. So I know where these are already at because I've done this plenty of times playing with it. So right here I have key, so gatekeeper password key, and .key extension here for gatekeeper pattern key. Okay. So we're going to delete these two. Now the easiest way to do that is to use this command. RM, and it's actually in the list, I'll just look at it just to show you. Right here. RM space star dot key. Copy. Now you can also RM the individual files, whatever you want to do. RM is like delete. So I doubled the RMs, so we can't do that. Let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. So if we hit enter here, and then we do an LS minus AL, you can see that the gatekeeper, which would be next to these two, those two files are gone. It deleted anything with a key extension. Now that removed the password on the device. If we reboot right now, passwords will be gone, any passwords. But we still have a fingerprint sensor registered, and that's still technically on the device. So we want to get rid of that. So how are we going to do that? So we're going to do CD minus space dot I should say, and hit enter. That's going to bring us back one directory to data. And then we're going to LS this directory, and we're going to look for something called biometrics, which you can actually see it right here. See it? Biometrics. Okay. You got to delete this command because that's no good. So we're going to CD to biometrics. And we're going to LS that, okay? So in here, in biometrics, you can see that there's FP. Well, that stands for fingerprint. So we're going to CD to FP. We're going to LS it. So if there's anything in FP, which there is, user-data, we want to delete this. This is actually a folder, not a file. So basically, you want to delete this. And the way we can do that, again, is right over here. So what we can do is we can use this command right here. And basically RM will delete a file, but if you're going to delete a directory, there's always a check. And if we use these two little designators, it will delete even a folder. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to paste it there, and we're going to hit enter. Okay? So at this point, you can now LS that directory again, and you can see the FP directory has nothing in it, nothing's showing up. Okay? So from here we can type exit, if I can type correctly, exit. And then we can do ADB reboot device, or just ADB reboot actually, and hit enter. And that's going to go ahead and reboot our device over here on the side. Now you can see there is a custom symbol right here because we do have a custom root or engroot file, which is a custom boot image on the device to give us this root shell here. So it's going to say custom currently. But what you're going to see is when this thing does fully boot up, which shouldn't take long because we're just rebooting it. You're going to see that all the passwords and fingerprint sensors, everything is gone off the device. We used engroot to remove the pin security. We also didn't lose any data. Now, this device doesn't have any data on it. It was a totally factory reset device when I started this process besides putting my Google account on it. So technically my Google account is still on the device because we didn't factory reset or anything. But you're going to see now that we should be able to get right in. swipe up, and if it loads, takes a second, you'll see that we're actually in the device. Everything is good. See? No problems at all. We can go in here. We can see there's an update waiting. We can go into the Play Store. And you know, if you can get into the Play Store, that you have a Google account added to the device. So that's an obvious thing right there. Hit accept. So yeah, nothing lost, nothing on the device lost, just the PIN, password, and fingerprint settings are fully removed. So the last thing you want to do now that we're in the device and everything works here, Google Play Store, everything's there, all of our stuff's still there, is you're going to want to restore the boot image, the stock boot image, which is really not that hard. It's not a huge deal, but let's just go ahead and show it to you. Why not? We can close out the shell window we're in. What we're going to do, don't need this open anymore, is we're going to come into here, and you can see I actually already pulled the boot image from the firmware. So the way you do that is you'd come in here to the AP file, you'd open 7-zip, you'd open archive here, you take this, you'd extract the boot image. Okay, pretty simple. Make sure you extract the boot image for the one you need, and you have the boot image. So I'm going to take my boot image and I'm going to copy it, and we're going to take it into Tar Tools right here. And the way my tar tools are set up, I just hit paste, and then I just click this file right here, and that just makes me a boot tar right here that we can now flash. So I'll cut this up right there, we'll paste it in, and now I can flash back my my device. So we just got to go back into download mode, so I'm just going to do that really quick. Just quickly booting into download mode. There you go, volume up. There we are. Now you can see FRP is actually still on, if you can see that. So that hasn't changed at all. So we're good. Now we got to add in the file. Here's the boot tar. Hit start. And this should just go ahead and flash back the stock boot tar back to the device and basically put it 100% back to stock software. Now you see you're still custom here. Sometimes that will stay a couple boots before that clears, so I'd reboot it a couple more times and the custom icon should go away on the device. But now you're going to be, you don't have that ADB root shell anymore. The customer's phone is back to stock firmware, but the password is removed off of it. So that's the process. That's a little bit advanced. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video here. Using Odin and doing some advanced password, PIN, and fingerprint deletion and removal. So there you go, very cool, and we'll catch you guys in the next video, hopefully something soon. Talk to you later. Root Junkie out.